I've been getting to grips with this for a few days now, and I thought it might be useful to show a few of the functions, or the bits I found useful at least, that weren't immediately apparent until I'd spent a few hours digging in. Hopefully it'll save you some time and maybe show you some stuff you didn't realise it had. And we all know what this does by now, so I'm demoing how to navigate your way around it rather than a detailed explanation of every single function. So I'm squishing everything down into a few minutes, but if you've ever programmed a synth, after watching this you'll be able to pick it up and start digging in and exploring what we've got here. So I'm trying to keep this nice and succinct. And considering the amount of stuff we've got in here, I must congratulate Arturia because it's very, very intuitive once you've got to the basics. And first off, we can see we've got a nice knobby interface, and most, if not all, the main features are available directly from these, but there are a few things that took a while for me to find out. First off, I'll just load an initial patch. We've got 256 presets in here and 256 empty slots with initialized patches in them. So there we go. And you notice there that says bass, somehow initialized into a bass patch. I think they're all bass patches. If you press shift and filter, you can go through all the different types of patches and you can save them as different things, just so that you're not scrolling through 256 every time. But we'll leave this as bass, doesn't really matter. Okay. Everything's all logically laid out and there are no real surprises here. Oscillators into the filter. This is a 12 dB analog Steiner-Parker filter, and we currently have 22 digital oscillators. I say currently because with the Minifreak they did bring in the addition of a vocoder and a wavetable oscillator after a while, so maybe they'll do that here. And Oscillator 2 is almost the same, but we do have digital filters on Oscillator 2. So if you want something that's a bit different to the Steiner-Parker, something a bit more raucous or a bit more weird or complex, like a comb filter or a phase filter, we've got that in Oscillator 2. I'll show that in a bit. Then we've got a couple of LFOs, and we can load complex shapes into these and have them as one shot, so they become additional envelopes. We've also got a third LFO for vibrato, which is for oscillator pitch only. We've got a cycling envelope here, so that's essentially an LFO or an envelope. In other words, there could be 4 LFOs on a single patch. Plus we've got a standard ADSR envelope. So we've got 3 LFOs, of which can be a single shot, and we've got 2 envelopes, one of which can be an LFO. So a patch could have 4 LFOs and another patch could have 4 envelopes. And when I do comparisons, people ask me why I don't show the different things each synth could do, but look at this, it would take at least a week to demo all the various functions on this synth alone. Anyway, on the top right we've got 3 effect slots with around 10 effects to choose from. It might not be 10, I might have got that wrong, but it's got a fair few. And on the top left we've got this really complex but intuitive modulation matrix, and along the bottom we've got the controls for the arpeggiator and the sequencer, which, although it looks a bit daunting at first, it's really well laid out. The bottom left's got the real-time control section. These 2 sliders can be assigned to pitch bend or modulation as per the norm, but we've also got 2 macros, and we can assign these to up to 4 parameters each, so that's 8 parameters. And we've got the spice and dice control for the ARP and the sequencer, which adds various amounts of randomness, and you can see each type of control is a different color, which is very nice. Let's just turn those off in case I confuse myself. So that's a whistle-stop tour of the features. You probably know most of that already, but there are a couple of things that aren't immediately apparent that I'll mention first, because we all know what fiddling with knobs can do. And these are the shift and the sound edit buttons. The shift over here accesses anything that we've got in blue text, and we can see the blue text on a few of the parameters. So for example, on the effects type, let's go to the delay, let's turn it on. So we've got different types of delay there. We've got filtered sync, got ping pong, we've got stereo sync, for example. Just twisting the knob just changes the type of effect. I mentioned vibrato, we've got vibrato there. Go shift vibrato off or on. And the sound edit button accesses stuff that's not on the front panel. We can just press it on its own, and we've got access, well, the first level of menu, I suppose, or we can press sound edit on one of the buttons. So now we're in the envelope edit section, and we've got velocity, VCA, velocity to the VCF, velocity to the envelope. We've got all various odds and sods in there, and we've got that for all the different sections. We'll say all, we don't have it for the filter. So sound edit and select. We mentioned the vibrato before, so if we go into vibrato depth, let's turn that up. Vibrato rate, let's turn that up, or just leave it as it is. Oh, let's put that onto keyboard and bend and wheel. So if we turn the vibrato off, it doesn't work. Turn it back on again. Go into the sound menu, change the rate. So you can see here, you're using the sound edit and the shift buttons a fair amount for the secondary functions, I suppose. And just going back into this mode button here, we've got the different poly modes on here. Mono, poly, paraphonic, and uni. If we go into the sound edit and we click that, we've got the envelope parameters, but we've also got stuff like unison spread. Let's put it into unison. Let's turn that down. And then if we click on there, and then we've got legato modes, different curves for the envelope, so you can have a couple of curves or a couple of types of curves for the attack, the release, and the decay. So it can be, just show you that as well, default or quick. Default, the decay curve can be default or percussive, and the release curve can be default or percussive as well. Not a huge amount of difference, but those percussive ones do make it a little bit more exponential. So yeah, between the shift and the sound edit and the knobs on the front, you can access everything. Another couple of things that are worth noticing: hold, does what you think, and chord for just really simple to use, and then octave up and down. Okay, let's take a slightly deeper look at this modulation, and this matrix will be very familiar to anyone who's used the Minifreak. Along the side, we've got the sources, and along the top, we've got the top or the main destinations: pitch, wave, timbre, and cutoff, but we've also got these three assigns as well. Let's just do something super simple. We'll assign the cycling envelope to the pitch of oscillators 1 and 2. That's the very first one. So let's go to there, we just press it, and we can see that's lit up white, which means we can now change the amount. Let's put this onto loop. Change the amount. As I said, really simple. But if there's something that you haven't got on the top there, i.e. basically any of the other knobs and sliders, we can go to assign. Oh, let's come out of that. Assign. And then we're going to assign, I don't know, what should we assign? Should we assign the rise of the cycling envelope with LFO 2? So we'll go to LFO 2 actually. Let's try that. So assign, empty, let's wiggle it. So we've wiggled the rise, and that's been assigned to envelope 2. So if we click on there, add some amount. And we can see LFO 2 flash in there. Let's just bring the rate down, go to LFO 2. So you can see you can get really complex things set up really quickly. And actually the macros can be assigned as a destination as well. So if you've got 4 things applied to the macro, you can modulate all those 4 things at once with an envelope or an LFO. Very nice, but you can see we've only got 3 assigned slots there. If we go to shift and page, we've got assigned slot 2 and assigned slot 3. These are all empty at the minute. So we've actually got 9 different assigned slots. So yeah, it's hugely flexible. Okay, I've introduced macros. Let's have a little play with them, shall we? Let's just initialize a patch. Nothing in there, nothing on the macro, shift and macro. Anything to move now will become a destination for the macro. So let's adjust the cutoff, change the amount, turn it up. Let's just come out of the sound edit menu and knock the cutoff down so we've actually got something to modulate. So we go back into the macro. We're now modulating the cutoff. So let's add LFO 1 to the cutoff as well. That's LFO 1. And put it to the cutoff. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Okay, so click that, change the amount. adjust the rate with the macro. So shift the macro, second one, LFO rate, let's turn that up. Come out with a shift. Yeah, you can hear that. And let's modulate one of the effects as well, shall we? So let's go into effect 1. What have we got there? Let's turn it into a bit crusher, make it really obvious, turn it on. Once you put the effects on, you can see we've got like a dimmed LED there next to the name. Okay, so what's the time do? Oh, I've changed it into an EQ somehow. Okay. So let's modulate that amount with the macro as well. There you go, it's all pretty straightforward. Let's look at the oscillators and the filter now. I'm not going to go into this into too much depth, it's all pretty obvious and you'll know how all this works. I think we've got 22 oscillator types, 3 parameters on each, and oscillator 2 can filter oscillator 1. So start with the initial patch, all the different types, and each of them has got 3 distinct parameters. And if you look at the display, you can see what the parameters are. But let's put it onto something a bit more normal. That's a nice big super wave, shall we? And let's filter that with oscillator 2. So go to oscillator 2, type, comb filter. This is now a dry wet. So it's now in series, not in parallel like it was before. We had independent control of 1 and 2. Now the volume of 2, as I say, it's just the dry wet signal. Try another type. Let's go to the multi-filter. So the multi-filter, we've got loads of different types of filters on here. Then we've got modes, we've got low pass 36, 24, 12, low pass 6 without resonance, high pass 6 without resonance, high pass 12 with resonance, 24, 36, band pass 12, 24, 36, notch 12, 24 and 36. And we've got a surgical filter in here as well. And the surgeon filter, it's like a really steep curve. Again, we've got different modes on that. But I'm just showing that really to show that you're not left with the analog filter. If you want something really dirty, really aggressive, you can go to a 24 or a 36 dB filter and knock the resonance up. Maybe let's do that just to see. Go to the multi-filter. It's tight, let's go to a low pass 24. Turn the resonance up. If we open that up fully and then just play with this one. So the analog filter is really nice, it's smooth, it's great for pads, but if you did want anything more raucous, you've got oscillator 2 to rely on. So while I'm talking about the oscillators, let's look at this paraphonic mode where we get 12 oscillators playing at the same time, as in 12 distinct voices, 12 distinct tunings. Go into the paraphonic mode. In fact, let's just load up another initial patch to show how it really works. Go to paraphonic mode. Let's go down a couple of octaves, put hold on. 12 notes playing at once. And that's paraphonic because we have only got the filter, or we've only got 6 filters. So if we put an envelope on that, for example, let's put an envelope on the filter, turn the filter down, put the resonance up so we can hear it. If we play those 12 voices, you're not going to get 12 distinct filters. So let's try it. Let's put hold on. You can hear the filter's got an envelope on it. Still has. So that's 6. Didn't. Or did it? So the last 6 there, you didn't hear the filter sort of giving it the sort of wah-wah effect. But that's a nice big tone. Let's put that on a sawtooth, shall we? Just a bit of fun. Maybe let's add some reverb. Change the reverb type. Should we go for long? Pretty massive, pretty cool. Okay, a quick look at the LFOs and the envelopes. Now, I did say this was going to be a whistle-stop tour, and I feel like I've been going on for ages already. But LFOs 1 and 2 not only have the standard wave shapes we expect, but they also have a programmable one, plus loads of complex ones that are loaded using shift plus load. So let's just play with those for a second. Let's put LFO 1 to modulate the pitch, shall we? It's the easiest. Okay, so we've got different waves. All the stuff you might expect, but then we've got this LFO Waveshaper, and we can load waves into this. So, an asymmetrical saw, unipolar cosine. I'll just find some more interesting ones. Let's make it a bit faster. Okay, what else? Let's find, this is cool, decays. Let's increase the amount of modulation, shall we? What else? This is nice. Let's do that faster. And we can have these as one shots as well. Sound edit to the LFO. Let's go down to the re-trigger. Let's just have it as a 1. And they are poly LFOs, so we can have a different LFO on every key. And then we do have the Waveshaper on it as well. So let's shift and edit. And we've got this Waveshaper. So let's go to last step 8, last step 8. We can create our own. So let's go to number 1. Let's put it just flat. There we go. Number 2 again, flat. 3 flat. 4 down. Yeah, 5. Let's have that as a. And then I'm just playing around with it really. So we've created our own wave shape. So let's go to the cycling envelope then. That's got a few tricks up its sleeve as well. Let's set the cycling envelope to the pitch of 1 and 2 again. Just makes things really easy to hear what's happening. So we've got an attack, a hold, and release, and this is the hold time as well. If we put it into loop mode, this hold becomes a time. You can see that increasing. And then we can change the shape of the rise and fall as well. Let's put it into hold actually. Okay, they're the sound creation basics, and hopefully I'll have given you a good point to kick off your own tweaking explorations. There's enough in there maybe to keep you going before the manual comes out and you can take a lot of a deeper dive. But let's just put some of them into use and create some simple tones, shall we? Let's start off with using the chord mode and do like a big classic house chord. So hold it down. Cut off down. Bit of envelope. That's all right. Let's stick, I don't know, a bit of chorus on there. So go into effect 1, chorus, turn it on, lights up. It's not bad. Bit of release. A bit of reverb, shall we? Turn it on. Let's do something slightly more complex or interesting then. Let's turn that into a wobbly bass, shall we? Let's take the chord off. Let's take the effects off now. Let's modulate the cutoff with LFO 1. So LFO 1. So the cutoff. Mount, and then let's turn this into some sort of wobbly bass thing. So let's edit it. Let's do what we sort of did before a little bit. Something like this. 5. And now let's do those little fast little wobbles as well. Let's have the last step at 8 again. Let's put that into unison. Let's change the unison amount. Unison spread. And let's play with the type of oscillator.
Break with XP.
let's just do one other. Let's do a really simple pad, shall we? Let's use 2 oscillators this time. So let's go back into the oscillator 1, oscillator 2, turn it up. Slightly detune it, shall we? To fine tune. Cut off down a bit. Just going for a bit more of an old-time classic sound. Let's modulate the timbre, shall we? Or the sub amount, or the wave morph, or the pitch of one of the oscillators. Let's do the pitch of one of the oscillators, maybe make it a little bit more wobbly. So let's go into here. Let's go to LFO 1. We'll go to assign. We'll assign just the pitch of oscillator 1. Make it a bit gritty. Let's put in a bit of bit crusher. Quite nice. Anyway, just some ideas thrown at you there, and I hope that was of some use to somebody somewhere. If it was, please think about subscribing, ring the bell, join me on Patreon, check my affiliate links, all that sort of stuff. And as I say, I hope that was useful, and I will see you next time.